Have you ever witnessed someone destroy their aspirations by their own actions? This is the person who never stops talking about how they're going to buy that new car, but they blow their entire paycheck on concert tickets and takeout. Or the woman who is believing for her Boaz, but she's running around the streets not acting like no Ruth. Or how about this one? This person, I'm manifesting peace in my life, but they spend hours every day doom scrolling. Now, what these people need is a good bonking on the forehead so maybe they can realize that their expectations are never going to happen with their current set of behaviors. And if that's you, here's a bonk. Let's wake up and dive into how to turn your expectations into reality. Well, let me be the first one to officially welcome you to the third week of your fast. You have officially made it through weeks 1 and 2. Now, if you've been with us for both of those weeks, all of week 1 we spent dealing with mindsets. And all of week 2 we spent dealing with attitudes. Now this week, week 3, we're going to be tackling behaviors. And if you haven't picked up on it already, mindsets flow into attitudes, which flow into behaviors. So last week we spoke about the attitude of expectation, which all comes from the mindset of imagination. What you're able to visualize, you have to begin to expect. And the word says this about expectation. Now faith is the substance of things expected. So we have to answer the question, okay, well, what is that faith that is the substance? What is the faith that is the evidence? The word also says this, that faith without works is dead. So it's faith that's backed by works that is the substance or the evidence of the things that you're expecting. Mm-hmm. I want you to grab a pen and a paper, and I want you to write this down and put it somewhere where you can look at it every single day. The evidence of expectation is preparation.
So really quickly, let's define the word preparation. Preparation is the process of getting ready for something in advance. It involves planning, organizing, and equipping yourself with the necessary tools, knowledge, or mindset to handle a task, event, or goal necessary. Preparation helps ensure readiness and improves the chances of achieving desired outcomes. To sum up this definition and to really point out the thing that stood out to me the most was that preparation improves the chances of achieving desired outcomes.
Now, here are 3 decisions that you need to make if you want to develop this behavior of preparation in your life. The first decision you have to make is to make room. Whatever you're expecting, you need to make room for it. This means if you're expecting the Lord to open up a door for you to move into a new home, a new apartment, then go ahead and pack. If you're expecting the Lord to bless you with a new car, then clean out the garage, because you can't park a brand new car in a garage that's full of hoarder stuff. If you're expecting the Lord to bring you a spouse, but you're wilding out, and I'm not accusing anybody, you need to make room for the blessings that He has for you, for Him to bring them into your life. If you're expecting a promotion to come your way, but you're mismanaging what you have in your hands now, then how can you expect the promotion to actually come unless you're expecting to just be broke at a higher level, to mismanage the blessing, mismanage the promotion? So make room for whatever it is that you're expecting.
And understand that making room will sometimes make you look crazy. So before you do it, make sure you've already made the decision to be okay with that. And the reason why making room can sometimes make you look crazy is because you have faith and you have an expectation and a hope for something that you don't see yet. So your actions are reflective of the thing that you are hopeful for, but the thing that's not in the present just yet. So if somebody's on the outside looking in and they see you packing because you're expecting a house or an apartment, you're believing for it and you're making room for it, they're going to think you're crazy. Why do you have boxes packed? Lester Sumrall was overseas preaching, and after the event was over, he went back to his hotel room and had no money to get back to the airport. And he went to his room, and the first thing he did was he made room for the thing he was expecting and believing for. He packed up his bags as if he was leaving on the first train right back to the airport the next morning. And he sat and he prayed and he prophesied and he believed the Lord to bring him a ticket. And lo and behold, the next day, someone showed up just in time with a ticket for him. Lester Sumrall made room for that blessing. He made room for the thing he was expecting. And a personal example, back in 2021, we had 2 cars, and one of them we had to sell. Derek sold it, and now we had only 1 car. There was challenges with that. It was cumbersome. It was annoying, and I knew we needed another car. And I remember I was praying, and the Lord told me to make room for it. And I was like, okay, God, what do you want me to do to make room for it? At the time, we were living in a 2-family home. And in front of the house, there was 2 parking spaces, one for our neighbors downstairs and one for us. And we would always park there every single day. As I was praying, the Lord told me not to park in front of the house anymore, but to park in front of our neighbor's house, which was a little bit odd because
And inconvenient.
and inconvenient because now I had to walk even further, and it just looked kind of weird because if nobody parks in front of the house, the parking spot that we park in stays empty. It's our spot. And so I did this, as odd as it was, as inconvenient as it was, but I was like, okay, Lord, you're asking me to make room for a blessing. And Lord, I receive it, as odd as this looks, as weird as it is, and as annoying as it is to have to walk a few extra steps, I'm going to do it. It was probably about a month or 2 later, someone comes to us and says, would you like to buy our car for $1? And we bought the car. And I was just mind blown because that is the car that now went in that parking space that we were making room for. Not only did we expect a vehicle, we prepared for it and we made room for it. And that opened the doors for God to bless us with that car. Another example, right after that miracle took place, Derek and I were ready to start our family, and we began to make room even for that blessing. We would buy baby clothes. We would get little things here and there that would prepare us for that baby. And ladies, I know that there's some of you who may be struggling with infertility or struggling with multiple losses. And I know that sometimes making room for something like that can actually be really painful. But I want to encourage you that even through those moments of pain, that there is a blessing waiting for you on the other side of your preparation. Just because a situation may be painful to prepare for, don't allow that to keep you from preparing for the blessing that you're expecting and that you're believing for. The Lord is faithful and He will fill what you make room for.
Decision number 2, value preparation over performance. Now, I know this is hard for a lot of us who went through the school system in America where we're given grades and we have to take tests, which are indicators of our performance, and the SATs and the ACTs and all of the tests that we've learned to be determiners of our value and determiners of how far we can make it in life. But the reality is professionals, the best of the best in the world who get paid for what they do, prepare 10 times more than they perform. It's the amateurs that perform 10 times more than they prepare. Case in point, look at a professional athlete. Look at a Steph Curry who practices and drills over and over and over again for days, weeks, months, and years for just a handful in the comparison of it of games per year. Contrast that with all the amateur ballers down at LA Fitness who are always playing the game.
Why you gotta come for the people at LA Fitness?
I don't know. I don't know.
That felt really intentional.
Targeted.
That felt really targeted.
Yeah. As much as they like to ball out, they're not getting paid to do so. So value preparation over performance. And decision number 3, treat everything like it's preparation. You know, this is the first YouTube series that Alexis and I have ever done, and we prepared for it. But the reality is, this actually doing the YouTube series, which can be considered the performance, is preparation for something else. And that's the reality of life. Everything is preparing you for another thing. A lot of times people beat themselves up for having a bad performance without realizing that the mistakes they're making now, the mistakes you're making today, can prepare you for a bigger opportunity tomorrow. Heck, There are things that we would change and we would do better if we did this whole series over again. But we know that there's going to be another series in the future. There's going to be more opportunities. There's going to be bigger audiences. There's going to be opportunities to have bigger influence. And this is preparing us for that. And guess what? That's going to prepare us for something down the road too. Everything is preparation, especially with the Lord. You know, there's a great quote that I love, that God is preparing you for what he already has prepared for you. And he'll use every single opportunity to do so. So treat every opportunity like preparation for the next big performance.
So you've imagined the end of this fast and the destination that you want to get to. Hopefully by now you have turned on your God will attitude and are fully expecting it to pass. And if that's the case, it is time to start making room. So ask yourself, what needs to change between where you are and where you see yourself? Here's a CBT activity to help you make room for the blessing that you're expecting. Number 1, write down the things that you were expecting in this next year. Number 2, write down 3 ways you could begin to make room for each of those 3 things in your life. Number 3, ask yourself, what can you begin doing right now?
What this looks like if you're expecting the Lord to bless you with a new car, but your garage is full of stuff. That can seem like a big undertaking to clear out the whole garage. The first thing you need to do is go and get some garbage bags. Take the first small step. All of the rest of the steps become easier. You know, a lot of people say that the first step is the hardest. Well, why are we making the first step so much more complicated then? Let's make the first step as simple and as easy and as close as possible. It makes all the other steps easier.
Definitely. Lastly, find pictures, words, scriptures that'll inspire you and encourage your spirit while you're making room. For example, while Derek and I were believing for our son and we were making room for our baby, what I did was I went online, and ladies, this is why I mentioned that earlier. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it could be really difficult. And honestly, everything in me was fighting doing this. I did not want to do it. It was almost painful to do it, but I knew that my faith had to be bigger than my physical circumstances. My belief in God and his ability had to be bigger than what I was seeing with my own 2 eyes. So while we were making room, I went online and I looked up images of positive pregnancy tests. I printed it out, I cut it out, and I put it right where I would see it every single day. That way I kept the vision in front of me, and it was the perfect reminder for me of why I was making room for the thing I was believing for and expecting. So find those images, scriptures, and words and put those in prominent places in your home. Put it in your car, put it in your notebook so that you could keep the vision in front of you. So keep expecting, keep preparing, and keep making room. Happy fasting.
And God bless.